The latest update in Fortnite Creative introduced us to the fire volume, which we can now use to create fire at very specific locations. Today I want to show you guys 3 things which you can do with this device and how this device can be used to its full potential. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so first things first, this is the fire volume, and it basically does what it says. You can light things on fire if it's in the volume of the device. The device has a rather small range which you can use this on, so you have the maximum of 10, 10, and 10, which in terms of all the other devices is actually pretty small. Like most of the devices which have this volume type can be put over the entire island, which means for you that you have to use multiple devices if you want to have a larger area of effect. So let's have a quick look what this device can actually light on fire, because not every item in Fortnite Creative can be lit on fire and not every item in Fortnite Creative burns. So let's have a quick look at which items we can burn and which can light on fire. Obviously any kind of wood item we can light on fire and it actually burns. We can get the burn effect from it. Pretty cool. Terrain pieces do not work. Terrain pieces do not burn at all. Same goes for glass and special items like the primitive shape gallery or cube gallery. Yet again, any kind of prop made out of wood can burn. Other props which are not made out of wood just have the burning effect on it, so they just look a little bit like burned off, but they're not burning, so you don't get the burn effect from these, but they still can have a different look. Same goes for bushes. Obviously everything that is made out of wood or something resembling of wood can burn. For devices, there are a few exceptions. First of all, most of the devices do not get affected by the fire damage. However, there are 2 devices, which are these 2 over here, the gas pump and the explosive device, which can be affected by fire. If you want to actually have the fire effects on them and if you want the fire to explode them, you need to have a health level on them. So you cannot have these uninstructable. So I think by default, the explosive device is on 1 anyways. And you need to put the health to minimum 25 for the fuel pump. And you can see it looks quite cool. The gas pump is obviously nothing really too new. But I think on an explosive device, this is a really cool animation which you can use to kind of instance something that this is burning up. So I think this is a really cool effect that you should try to apply to some of your maps. Obviously it goes off with the explosion. It's really good that the trigger device and stuff like that does not work even if you have damage on, because that will be helpful in other situations, which you're going to see in a second. Certain items in Fortnite Creative, mainly the ones that are not made out of wood, so basically metal, bricks, whatever, do not burn, but they change their appearance. So for example, this one right here, you can see the statue. It changes color and looks more like worn out, while this one looks completely fine, nothing happened here. Obviously this is the one with the fire volume, and you can really create unique things with that. I already touched on that in my last video, but I think it's very important to know that this is now very easily possible within your fire volume, where you can just have single things light on fire, make the experience change. Or you can even use this as a visual where you can have fire damage. If you use something that is out of wood, then you will still have the fire damage and you will have the fire effect on it. But I really want to show you here how much potential this device has and how much cool things you can create with this device. Not even in a sense of just burning things or damaging things, but you can use it as an effective VFX tool as well. Okay, so let's move on to the final thing, and I think this one is one of the most underrated things that you can do with this new fire damage in Fortnite Creative, and that is actually extinguishing the fire. And there's quite a few items in Fortnite Creative which can actually extinguish fire, which is pretty cool. You can see that most of these shield items can actually extinguish the fire, so if we throw it quickly against here, you can see it basically goes off. Same goes for the truck splashes, but there's one downside to it. You can see in a second here that this re-lights and burns again. There's a thing which you can do, and I'll show you that in a second. But all the other items that work as well are the chiller grenade. So if you throw it here, you can see, bam, fire goes off. And also the snowman. The snowman not directly. If you use the snowball from the snowman, which you can get here, if you throw it against here, it also does not work, apparently. For example, the snowman also works, but you have to throw it so the snowman basically has the snow animation on the fire. So something like this. So you can see that the snow basically falls on that. Items that do not work are, for example, the new spray here. You can see that I can obviously hear myself, but I cannot spray it on something, and it just goes off. So, however, there's a pretty cool way in how you can use items that usually cannot, extinguish fire, and that is by using a little trick, which I showed in my last video, which now is possible even better than doing this before, because you can now use triggers. And basically all you have to do for this is put a giant trigger device on the wall that you want to have extinguish, and then make sure that they obviously have the same channels here. So ignite on whatever channel and then extinguish on the same channel as the trigger device. And then basically any item that can interact with the trigger device can work and will extinguish the fire, which is pretty cool. One of my absolute favorite items to use in this case is actually the new paint launcher, and I think this is just a perfect fit to extinguish fire. It's really cool, it really has a nice effect on it, and I can already see the mini games coming up with this. And that wraps it about up for the fire volume. This device is very versatile, it's a very easy to use device, but has so much potential. So definitely want to hear what you create with this. Follow me on Twitter, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys back in the next one. Bye.